Hi there, I'm meteorologist Robert Spetta. Let's take a look at the latest on Tropical Storm Nalgae, also known as Paeng in the Philippines. The storm has slowly organized over the last 24 hours. Winds now at 65 kilometers per hour. Pressure down to 996 hectopascals. But one thing I really do want to note, though, is on satellite imagery, you can see where that center of circulation is right here. Look where the bulk of the convection is, just off towards its south and west. This all thanks to a little bit of shear acting in on this, but it's notable because for areas across Mindanao and eastern Visayas, including Legazpi, Samar, Leyte, even as far west as Cebu, you're going to be looking at these showers really starting to increase out ahead of this storm system as we go ahead through your day on Friday, just because of the bulk of the convection being removed from that center. So yes, we're paying attention to the center line, but remember the wide range of impacts from this storm system. Overall, though, this is still edging on the southern extent of that shear line that was impacting it. It does look like that it's going to weaken, allow this to wrap up, and allow it to strengthen. Now, JTWC and Pagasa both expect a typhoon at landfall. JMA not quite at high, but I think they're just being conservative with their numbers here. I wouldn't be surprised if at the very least we got a severe tropical storm or a typhoon out towards Catanduanes in Legazpi as we go ahead through your early morning on Saturday. Then eventually the storm's going to move off towards the west, possibly making landfall east of the NCR around the Rizal area, and then moving onshore throughout the day on Sunday morning, and then eventually being off towards the west by Sunday evening there. Overall, though, the track has continued to shift towards the south. That's one thing I do want to note. These are Pagasa's official tracks that they originally put out, then each following forecast leaning a little bit further towards the south and west, just because of the delay in the organization of this system and that shear acting on it, edging it further here. So much like Carding, remember we saw that kind of just leaning more and more west. This is doing something very similar, and I wouldn't be surprised. I really would bring Legazpi, Catanduanes well into the fold for likely landfall of this storm system. I think Samar is a little bit further towards the south, but as I mentioned, there's plenty of convection out ahead of this, so maybe the center line's not going to hit you, but you are going to be feeling some impacts from this storm system and maybe even typhoon strength gust. How about the timing of it? Well, taking a look at this, coming back towards Catanduanes throughout the day on Friday, really starting to pick up through Saturday morning, pushing over you, and then eventually skirting northern Legazpi, but I really think that yeah, this is definitely going to bring you into the fold. So peaking there by Saturday evening into Infanta, Metro Manila, Saturday evening as well, even over towards Angeles, Saturday night into Sunday morning. In Baguio, you're also going to feel some impacts, winds possibly up to 90 kilometers per hour with those higher elevations as you go ahead through your Sunday morning. Definitely a range of impacts here, not only the winds, but also the heavy rainfall that is going to come with this, with that threat of some flooding and even landslides in some of those higher elevations. Let's go hour by hour with our future cast here as this storm system wraps up. Now look where the bulk of the convection is out ahead of this, and on the southern periphery, northern periphery, not as wet just because of that shear and dry air acting in on this. But look at Catanduanes as we go ahead through your Friday evening, afternoon, I should say, about 2 o'clock, already getting the impact. Same over towards Legazpi, northern areas of Samar as this just kicks on by. Look at that as this moves through Catanduanes, that landfall as we go ahead into your Saturday afternoon and through the evening. There it passes just toward, or excuse me, Friday afternoon into the evening, I should say, as it passes just towards the north of you. Same with Legazpi, seeing those higher winds wrapping around from the south. Then we move this off door towards southern Luzon. Look at that. ECMWF tracking this just a little bit further towards the south, and what the official tracks have been saying at this time, plenty of heavy rainfall even as far west as Mindoro throughout the day on Saturday, and then this comes on shore into central Luzon, just north of the NCR. Very similar track as we've seen with Carding, moving right over Angeles, possibly over towards Subic, exiting around that area, winds wrapping around into Pangasinan, and an onshore wind on the back side of it across the Metro Manila area and even over towards Mindoro. So definitely a variety of impacts from this storm system as it kicks on shore, like I mentioned, making landfall first there by Friday night, heading into Saturday morning, pushing across the Philippines, and then by Sunday morning, eventually re-emerging on the west coast with those winds wrapping around from the south. All right, that's a look at what's going on out here today. Oh, by the way, a few people have asked about this. Yes, there is a secondary low. I'm watching this too, an area of convection south of Guam. That possibly could fall into the heels of this storm system. So for people in Mindanao, I want to watch that too as well. Lots of rain, though, in the forecast. I mean, even if your signal force warning is not issued for your area, you still could be looking at a heavy rainfall threat from this. So likely a typhoon at landfall, heavy rainfall and flooding possible, of course, and signal force 4, of course, is going to be a possibility if the Pegasus forecast does hold true and this does start to significantly strengthen. Take a look at Cebu, Friday and the Saturday and Sunday, of course, showers and thunderstorms, the peak of that being my Saturday morning. Really, you're going to be seeing the heaviest of the rainfall. For Metro Manila, it does look like more so Saturday night into Sunday morning, but really throughout the day on Saturday, not going to be a pleasant weekend at all in your forecast, and still inflow on the backside of this, also continuing to bring those scattered showers. Big thanks for everybody on Patreon who continues to support this channel too. I can't thank you guys enough. Of course, as always, if you want to check out our Patreon, check out the link down below. And also you can hit that like and subscribe button just for some of the latest information. You know, get the notifications, all that jazz. I don't like to say that, but it does help if you guys do subscribe, to be quite honest with you. And here's a look at everybody on Patreon who continues to support the channel. As always, thanks for watching and stay safe out there. All right.